Dear fellow coders, welcome to One Little Coder. This is day 3 of 8 days of Streamlit, where I'm going to teach you every single day to build a Streamlit application. And in this video today, we are going to build a PDF table extractor. And not just we are going to build this PDF table extractor on our local machine, but we are also going to deploy this on Hugging Face Spaces as a live application where anybody can upload their PDF and extract tables from that. So Camelot is a very popular Python library that helps you extract tables from PDF, a PDF that is not scanned. So a PDF where you can copy text. So if you have a PDF like that, and if you want to extract tables, and if you want to make this available as a service for anybody in the world to use, maybe a paid application, maybe you're a startup, or maybe a product idea. So this is a video that you have to watch. This video, unlike my previous 2 days, is going to be slightly long because there are a lot of small nuances when it comes to Camelot. So please stick till the last so that you can see how do we deploy this application, and then also you have a very nice portfolio. You have a nice project in your data science project in your portfolio. So let's get started. So this is how the app is going to look like. So basically you have to upload a PDF and you have to specify from which page do you want to extract the table from, and then finally it shows how many tables that it has parsed from that particular page, and then you can select and say, okay, number of like which table that you want to see, and then you select the table, and then you finally get to see the table as a pandas data frame. So this is basically the app. It looks very simple, but it has a lot of nuances, like I said. So let's simply get started with the code first. And as with any of our project, so I've got two main files. The first file is called app.py, and then the second file is called requirements.txt. So app.py and requirements.txt. I think we don't need this. Let me remove that. Yeah. So as I'm going to explain you, I'm going to start adding comments, and then you're going to learn how to do the same thing. Like you're going to learn the process. Just a disclaimer that I usually say, as you might see this video, you might have seen that, I'm doing everything seamless. This is like, let's say 30 minutes or 40 minutes video. You wouldn't see me making mistakes. And then you might see that, wow, this is like amazing coding. But I would like to let you know that I've spent more than 3 to 4 hours in making this particular code. There were a lot of challenges for me, starting from installing Ghostscript, installing OpenCV, deploying it, selecting the right PDF. So there were a lot of challenges throughout this process, but you don't see any of those challenges, primarily because I've already spent that time and then finally distilled this code and make it available for you. But you have to remember, I don't perfectly code like this in my daily life. Let it be my day job, let it be this hobby projects that I create. Every time I make mistakes, I check on Stack Overflow, I go to the GitHub issues, I do a lot of other things that you do not necessarily see in this video because I don't want to bore you with those kind of content. So take it with a pinch of salt whenever I say something, because entire thing that you are going to see is slightly fabricated, right? So I've already prepared this code. This is like a game show that you're going to see, but the code is real, but the process that I went through is not what you exactly see in this YouTube video, because there were a lot of behind the scenes. With that disclaimer, let's get started. So the first library that we're going to use in this project is Streamlit. This is for web app development. We all know. So I should probably call it data app development. Yeah. So the next thing is we want to install a particular dependency for for Camelot, and the dependency is called a Ghostscript. Ghostscript helps you with PDF, viewing PDF on your machine. And the code that I'm going to show you is perfectly or particularly tailored for Linux machines, or Mac Unix based machines. This may not work exactly like you expect on a Windows machine, but if you're deploying it on any Linux based cloud solution, this code should work without any issue. So for us to install that particular package on the local machine, like wherever we are going to deploy this, we need subprocess. This is basically we are trying to manage some process that is available in OS. So process, the OS operating system, again OS manipulation, OS process manipulation. Okay, and it goes the same thing here as well. So we're going to do the same thing. And after we do that, one of the instances where we have uploaded a PDF file on Streamlit, there is a little bit of nuance there. Streamlit takes a file and then converts into a byte object. but Camelot currently accepts only a PDF file, not any file object. So which means we have to do some quicks there to convert the byte object into an actual PDF. So this is in this particular tutorial we are using this to convert byte object into a PDF file. Okay, and then finally the most important package or most important library that we are going to use, this is like the core engine of this project, which is Camelot. This is for extracting tables from PDFs. Okay, so now we have all the libraries listed. So right now I would like to take you through the requirements.txt file. So the requirements.txt file look very simple, and the reason it looks very simple is because subprocess, OS, basics 4, all these libraries are part of your basic Python installation, base Python. So now you need to care only about Camelot and Streamlit. So as you know, Streamlit is installed by Streamlit, but Camelot has one more dependency, which is OpenCV. And for us to use OpenCV on Hugging Face spaces, we are installing OpenCV Python headless. So if you're going to try OpenCV only on your local machine, this is quite enough, OpenCV Python. But because we are going to deploy it on Hugging Face spaces, you need to install the OpenCV headless version of OpenCV. So that is why you have OpenCV Python headless as the first library, second Camelot Py, and then the third is Streamlit. Just make sure that you enter the Camelot name correctly, because there are different variants, and this is the only package, the right package that we are going to use here. So make sure that you install it called Camelot -py and then Streamlit, of course. So now that we know what are the packages that we are going to deal with, you can see my folder structure. So currently I've got app.py file and I've got a requirements.txt file. I've got a bunch of PDFs that I want to test, which I'll let you know soon. Okay, so let me close this and then show you this. So then first step for you to use Camelot is you need a library or a package. It's not a Python package. It is an OS dependent package, like a Linux package called Ghost Script. And for you to install Ghost Script, you need to typically go to terminal or shell, and then say apt get install Ghost Script. So, but right now you're going to deploy this as a Python application, which means you have to use the subprocess to do that. So there is not much detail here like for you to explore. So you can just simply find this code online anywhere, and this is basically to install Ghost Script. So let me paste, let me add like a doc string, maybe say install Ghost Script on the Linux machine or Unix machine as well, or this is particularly for Linux machine. Yeah, so after you install Ghost Script using this, one thing that we need to make sure that whenever the Streamlit application runs, every single line of the code from the top to bottom would execute. So the first line till the last line, case 50. I think 50 is my magical number, because every day whenever I deploy an application, it doesn't cross 50, and then we really have a cool application. The point being here is that it would run every single code from 1 to 50 every time the application is run. But we don't want to install Ghost Script every time, right? So that's why what I'm doing here is I'm caching this process, which means this process would get executed only once. And because this is a repeated process, because we are caching, it's not like we are going to install every Ghost Script every time. Now you might ask me like, oh hey, what is the advantage of it? So the simplest advantage is your user doesn't have to wait every time for you to install Ghost Script. That's the first thing, right? So there is not much latency whenever somebody wants to convert their PDF into a table. So that is the biggest advantage. There are a lot of different advantages. Do you want to make use of the resource? Is it the right coding practice? All these, keeping all this aside, the first important thing is your latency is less, so that the user doesn't have to wait for a long time. So basically I've created like a function here, and that function is getting called, and this function is now cached using Streamlit cache decorator. After that, we are going to have a title that simply says PDF table extractor. So you know why I'm caching, right? I want to run this only once, and it's cached. So the next thing that we want to do is we want to give a little bit of title here. So this PDF table extractor is the title that you see, and then there is a subtitle that says with Camelot library So I can change it. This is simply a markdown, right? So I can make these kind of changes and then see, like now it shows like this Camelot library. And then I wanted to just give a little bit of color there, so I've used Camelot's logo, and then I've used st.image. So this is st.title for title, st.subheader for the subtitle, and then st.image to show the image. The image is ideally very big. Like if you see the original image, it would look like this. Let me refresh it. The image is quite big, so I've made it to be 200 pixel width. So now right now, after you save this and rerun it, you would see 200 pixel width. So the image is now shortened. So st.image for showing the image, and the width parameter to reduce this width of the image. Next thing is we need a file uploader functionality where anybody can come and upload a PDF file. So the file uploader functionality is used. File uploader on Streamlit is used simply by st.file_uploader. So one thing you need to keep in mind is I've imported Streamlit as st. That's why you can see that everywhere I've referenced that st. But if you have not done like this, then you have to call streamlit everywhere. So that's something you need to keep in mind. So if you're going to just simply copy and paste this code and then run it, ideally it should run, but what I would advise is, as you watch this video, you should side by side code as well. At least you have to copy paste my code and then start running it. If you just watch this video and then feel good about that, oh nice, I know how to build a PDF table extractor. I don't think it's like me watching Gordon Ramsay and then telling myself that I know to make scrambled egg, but when I make scrambled egg I just make a crap. So please just do not watch this video and then please do not leave after watching this video without coding. So you have to code either while watching this video or at least after watching this video, then only you can learn something. Otherwise you are just watching this video for entertainment. So this is just another game show for you. Okay, that's a lot of input for you. So the file uploader is here to make sure that people can upload only PDF. I'm saying file uploader type should be PDF. If I do not have this thing, you can come back and see here, it doesn't say PDF, but when I have that type is equal to PDF, you can see that it makes sure that we upload only PDF. So this is like an easy validation that Streamlit is letting us do, so that we don't have to do that validation ourselves. So you don't have to manually see, oh, is it an image somebody is uploading, is it an Excel file somebody is uploading, is it a docx somebody is uploading. You don't have to necessarily bother about it. Streamlit handles it for you by saying that, okay, the type that I want is PDF type and the file uploader. The main important thing is when the output of this file uploader is actually a byte file. So whatever is the output of this file, as you can see somewhere here, it is read as a byte file or read as an object. That object doesn't mean anything at this point. It's not a PDF. So I call it input_PDF just for my reference, but it is not a PDF at this point. Just imagine that this is like some kind of code that nobody understands. Okay, some kind of data. It's usually like when you see matrix, what do you see? You see something green color, right? So it's very similar to that. Now the next thing is Camelot has an important function or feature where every time you have a PDF, by default Camelot reads the first page and then tries to extract table for that first page. But we don't want to restrict only for the first page, right? Sometimes you might want to extract the second page. Sometimes you might want to extract a table from the third page. Sometimes you want to extract the table from the 10th page. So we want to give that ability to the user. So we are including a section called page number, where we are just simply collecting the text input, and then we are saying the default value is 1. And also we are giving the example, like, do you want the first page, second page, third page, whichever page, and we are collecting that value as a string, and then it is getting saved in page_number object. So now at this point we are quite ready for us to design the core engine that's going to show the PDF, the table from the PDF, the extracted table from the PDF. So what is that? So we have to first handle a condition saying, okay, do rest of this code only when the PDF object is full, which means if anybody has uploaded a PDF, then do the rest of the things, otherwise don't do it. Like as you can see now, I'm sorry, yeah, as you can see now, you don't see anything below this, right? But there is a whole bunch of code that you don't see, and the reason you don't see anything is because we have not uploaded anything. So this section says run this only when a PDF is uploaded. So that's what we are handling with this condition, saying if input underscore PDF is not none, which means by default when you do not upload a PDF, this object is none, which means this section doesn't get executed. So when it wouldn't be none, it wouldn't be none when there is a PDF that is uploaded. So when there's a PDF that is uploaded, you're going to run the rest of the code. So that is something that you need to keep in your mind. So when there is a PDF that is uploaded, what are we going to do? Like I said at the start, Camelot at this point does not read a file object. It actually needs a PDF file, which means you need to have PDF in a certain path for you to use it with Camelot. But if we are uploading it here, how do we get the PDF in a particular user path? So for that, what we are going to do is we're going to convert our byte object or base64 object, whatever you would like to call it, into a PDF file. So basically, whatever we have read here using this Streamlit file uploader, this byte object or whatever this object is, we are going to use that and convert that into a PDF. That is what this section is. So now we are going to create an empty file called input.pdf. So that's why you would see this name being standard in the right mode. And then we are decoding, encoding a couple of things. We are doing it here, and then finally writing that whatever value that we have got inside this PDF file, and we are closing the file. So that is what is happening here. So converting the byte object or whatever that object, the input that you read, into byte object, yeah, into a PDF file, actual physical PDF file that would get saved the current directory. So wherever you upload this, wherever you deploy this, wherever your current directories, as you can see in my case, like you can see that I have this PDF name called input.pdf. So this PDF is not something that I uploaded, but this is something that gets saved after I upload some PDF. So that's what this place is, and it is valid even if you deploy it somewhere. So currently this is a workaround because Camelot doesn't accept file object or file from a URL or anywhere, but this might change in the future. But right now, as I'm making this video today on 15th Jan, this is the case. So the next thing is, right now we know that we have a local PDF file saved with the name input.pdf. So I'm going to simply tell Camelot to read underscore PDF, read from this PDF which says input.pdf, and which page do you want to take or extract, or which page do you want to read to extract table from. You're going to say the page number, whatever page number is selected here, that page number is fed into this argument, which would tell Camelot to read to extract table from. And Camelot has two flavors. One is called a lattice and the second one is called stream. I'm not getting into the details right now for this application. I'm just leaving it stream. But if you want to do some enhancements, you can again, make a dot or a radio button available to let the user select, do they want a stream flavor or do they want lattice flavor? Because there are instances where you might not get any table in one flavor, but you might get table in another flavor. So giving that flexibility to the user is good. So if you want to take an assignment from this project, if you want to make an enhancement, this is like a very good point to make an enhancement. Instead of hard coding it as stream, you can again give either a drop down or a radio button and get that input from user, whether you want stream or lattice, and then you can start, you can parse the PDF accordingly. So at this point, we are going to collect an object, and this object, it's going to tell us how many objects, how many tables are extracted from that particular page. So now we are going to have a new section called number of tables, and we are going to basically write this object as an output, and that would tell us number of tables that are extracted from this particular page from this PDF. And once we do that thing, I think we are pretty much set. Now it is all about displaying the final table. So we are going to say if the table length is greater than 0. So one thing you have to remember is, it is possible that you do not have any table at all in that particular PDF, which means the length of the table in that case would be 0. So if you have a table, that means length of the table is greater than 0. So it should be ideally either 1, 2, 3, 10, like anything but greater than 0. So only if it is greater than 0, you're going to say that, okay, now from all the tables that are extracted by Camelot, what is that table that you want to see? And then that is an option that you're going to collect, and you're going to use that option, which is a string now, into an index value for this table object. So let me say that again. So now you're going to have like a table, like a list, and from that you're going to take the right table that the user wants to see, and then you're going to pass it as an index, and then you're going to say .df to extract the pandas data frame of that particular table and then display the data frame. So I'm using st.dataframe here. So this is display the table, this is extract the index value of the table, and finally display the data frame. And if you want one more assignment that you want to do from this project, like if you want to do enhancement, then the next thing that you can do is you can give a facility to download this data frame. Right now, if you see, I'm not giving that facility, I'm not giving that feature. But if you want to improve, then you can let people download either a single data frame as CSV or multiple CSVs as a .excel file or something. So you just have to make a call, but you can give the downloading ability, because that would complete this project into something, you can either make it as a SaaS software as a service application, or you can offer it as a product. This is quite hot in the market. So whatever you are currently seeing, you have the ability to turn this into a successful product on the internet. Even when you want to monetize or you don't want to monetize, you have that ability. So at this point we have come to the end of the code. So right now you know what are these sections. Let me quickly take you through individual sections. We have the first section where we are importing required Python libraries. We have the second section where we are installing Ghost script and making sure that it is cached. We have the next section where we are showing the title, subtitle and images. And we have the next section we are collecting, or we have a file uploaded to collect the PDF. And we have a next section that explicitly collects the page number of the PDF from which the user wants a table. And then we have a next section that executes only if there is any file uploaded. And this next section has the first section, which is to convert the Python or byte object into a PDF file and then read the PDF file. Let me write it, read the PDF and parse it using stream, and then display the output after parsing. So basically you're going to say how many tables you have got, and if the length of the table is greater than 0, which means at least one table is being extracted from the PDF in that particular page, then you're going to get the index value of that particular table. Like if you have 10 tables, you want to see only the third table, you're going to give an option 3 here, and then the third table gets displayed here as data frame. So this is simply our code. Let me just show you how it works, then we are going to run this. Okay, so now you can either go click browse files and select it, or you can just simply drag and drop. I'm going to drag and drop a very simple PDF. So this is called foo.pdf. It is given as an example. Oops, yeah, the reason why you have got this error, this is something that you need to do, you have to handle the error. So the reason why you have got this error is because I've said extract the value from second page, but there are only there are no second 2 pages. It's only a single page PDF. I'm going to say 1 and then press enter, and then you're going to see that you have the table. So number is 1, only one table is extracted, and when you see, you're going to see the first table, sorry, two tables are extracted, first and second. You're going to see that. So I think it is 1, yeah. So I've got confused, yeah. So you have the output table. So now you have to do a little bit of cleanup, but still you can see how the table looks. So yeah, that is. So let me quickly show you one more table. So this is a table that I've got from w3.org to show as an example of PDF table. So this is an example of PDF table. Now let me just get that, which is table dot, oops, I have to drag and drop here. So I'm going to get it here and then drop it here, So now we have selected only the first page, you can see, and then you can see the values. So blind, low vision, dexterity, mobility, and you can see the column names. Still you have to do a little bit of cleanup, but you have got a very good data frame here. So all you have to do is like a little change the column names a little bit, then you are set to, you know, make data visualization, do automation, whatever you want to do, you are set. So now I have showed you the demo that this application, web application, PDF table extractor with Camelot works fine on my local machine. So now I would like to show you how to deploy this on Hugging Face Spaces. It's quite simple. You don't need a tutorial to deploy it on Hugging Face Spaces. We have already done it multiple times on this channel, but sometimes deploying or making it production comes with a new set of challenges. Right now you wouldn't see because I've already tested this, but deploying is always good. So I'm going to go to Hugging Face Spaces. So if you have never used Hugging Face Spaces is the free platform or server where you can go deploy your applications. Three kind of applications. One is your Streamlit application, second is your Gradio application, and third is your HTML CSS, a vanilla HTML CSS application, or including, you know, any kind of JavaScript like TensorFlow.js. So I've got separate tutorials for that. You can search it on this channel. So after you log in, this is what you would see. You have to log in on Hugging Face Spaces, and for that you need a Hugging Face account, of course, right? And after you reach the screen, create new space and then give a name. So I'm going to say PDF table extractor, and you have to select Streamlit because we are of course building a Streamlit application. Do you want to keep this repository public or private? I would of course love to keep it public so that people can learn from this. And after that, this is the screen that you would get. You have multiple ways to send code to this. Connect your local repository with this remote repository and then directly push it using Git. Second option, you can connect this code with a different GitHub repository and then sync them both. And the third option is what we're going to do, like probably the laziest of all, which is to upload this file. Just simply drag, oops, I'm making this mistake every day. Click upload file and then simply drag and drop, and then commit changes. Next, again, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to say add file, upload file, and then add requirements.txt and commit changes. At this point, you can see that our code base contains four files. Git attributes is to remove or, you know, deal with LFS. If you want to remove any particular file where you're going to upload, you can deal with those things. readme.md is if you want to give any information about this particular package, but otherwise it has this YAML file to tell Hugging Face Spaces that you are actually going to, you have uploaded a Streamlit file and the app file name is app.py. If it is a different name, you have to then go change it. If you want to change the emoji here, like for example, I've got an like the emoji that you would see, like let's say this emoticon that you see, this emoji, if you want to change it, you can change it. So right now we have a default emoji, maybe we can change it. I don't know what emoji we have. What would be fine? File, is there anything related to file? Table maybe. Oh, this it shows me this table, so maybe I'll look for file, document. Yeah, so this looks good to me. So I'll select this emoticon and then I'm going to select changed the emoticon, and then save, commit it. Now at this point we have committed it. So now you can see that it is in building phase, which means everything that you, oh amazing, it's so fast, right? Everything that we had given, like the Python libraries, the three Python libraries, which is OpenCV, Python Headless, Camelot, Py, and Streamlit, would have got installed while I was talking. So it was really fast. I didn't expect it to be this fast. And now we have got everything. So now our objective, and at this point we are sure also, we should be sure that Go script is installed, but we are never sure until we test it out. So I'm going to upload a PDF. So that is something that I got from the internet. So it is from the personal page of probably Professor Krishna Kumar. So thanks to Professor for having this PDF, and we are going to use this. So it has a lot of pages. That is an advantage. So it is a PDF of 5 pages. So we are going to upload this and see if we can extract tables from this. So first step is we have to upload it. I already have it on my local machine, so I'm going to drag and drop it. After we do that, now you can see it's a little bit on the heavier side, 300 KB. So it has got uploaded, and by default it selects the first page. But let's go back to this and see where do we have the table. So I see a table in the 4th page. So let me go back and say here, okay, I want from the 4th page. Okay, I'm going to press enter, and after I do that, you know that, see, the process is happening. We have not set up a progress bar or a spinner, but you can see that something changed. Now I can try to see if I have the table that I wanted. So do I have the table that I wanted? Let me see. I think this table has got transposed, and we have got it like the month July. Did we? Let me check. Yes, it looks like, yeah, it's that table. We have to do a little bit of data manipulation to understand any change, but at least you know that oh yeah, it's here. Sorry, that's my bad. So the table that we were looking for is here. So if you see month, season, and then you have got all the year ranges in the column, and then you have got June to winter, post monsoon, all this. So you have June, you have winter, post monsoon, you have all these values. For example, if you want to validate what was the value for August 1931 to 1916, I think it's 7.3. Oh sorry, it's 7.3 for September. So let me go back here and then see September 7.3, 1931 to 1960. So we have managed to successfully upload a PDF and extract data. So let's say I want a different page now. I can go and try to look at this. So this is in page 3. So if I say page 3, I can go here, change page 3, and then I can wait for it to parse. After it parses, I can select the table. Like there are a lot of different tables available here. Let's see. And you have a table that talks about rainfall. Let me see if it is that one, month, rainfall. I think, yeah, this one. It didn't get parsed well, but again, you can see that it has got extracted. So you need to do more data cleaning to get that value. So you can see that. So ultimately, this file does its job. So I've got one more final way, which is I've extracted a page, a Wikipedia page as PDF. Let's quickly see if it works. So I'm dragging and dropping. It's about Cricket World Cup. So I don't know if you see cricket. It's again quite on the heavier side. It's an 1 MB file, and we have got some tables here, nice tables. So if I just see page number 4, do we have page number 4? Yes, we have page number 4. Do we have page number 5? Yes, we have page number 5, and we have a lot of pages. Let me even drop it here, and then we can see what are the pages we have. I was quite interested in this particular table, which is the page number 9. So let's see if it extracts. Go here and then say page number 9, enter. I think I've messed up slightly with this calculation table display. You should definitely check it out yourself. Looks like there is some mess up that has happened. Okay, we have gone to page number 9, and the table that we have extracted talks about Australia, India, number of times the country has appeared, number of times that they have won, and then their win percentage. Let's see if there is a column called win percentage, and of course, yes, there is a column called win percentage. Australia's is 94, and where I come from, India, so we have a win percentage of 64%. So again, this is another good thing, right? So even if you have extracted a table from a web page, in my case, which is Wikipedia, you can still extract. So this is a really good application. This is like it is a very interesting project. A lot of people try to put this kind of project on their resume, and like I said, like you have a potential to convert this into a SaaS or offer it for free, and then monetize it with ads. Whatever you like to do, you can do it. But for now, this sums up our day 3 of 8 days of Streamlit, and I hope really that this video has added some value. You would have learned a lot, but little bit of pieces. But I hope that you can spend a little bit extra time and then connect all those different dots and then understand the big picture and learn more about Camelot library, learn more about all the individual pieces that we have done. And once again, I would like to, or I think this is the first time, I would like to thank the Camelot developers. So Camelot has been Camelot is something that I've used a lot. Camelot's one of the core developers, Vinayak Mehta. So I would like to say thank you to Vinayak for making this amazing open source library. So Vinayak has a buy me a coffee page. I would link that in the YouTube description. So if you find this Camelot library useful, you should definitely go contribute, or at least start this repository and give a shout out to the developer whenever you use this. That would mean a lot to people who selflessly contribute to open source packages. And again, thanks to the Hugging Face team for making spaces available that I can use, and of course Streamlit, the open source company and also community that is constantly contributing to the growth of Streamlit and making it easier for us to develop these applications. None of these people sponsored this video. I'm not in a position where I'm getting sponsors, but I would like to always thank or credit them for the hard work that they've been putting on the open internet, that we are leveraging it. So thank you so much. If you have any comments, please let me know in the comment section. Otherwise, I would like to see if you deploy this application, any variant, the same code. Absolutely interested in seeing what you deployed. So we have 5 more days to build 5 more Streamlit application. If you have any ideas, let me know in the comment section. Otherwise, I hope you stay safe and happy coding.